Hello there friends, welcome back. I realize it's been a really long time since I've made a painting video for you guys. So right now I'm letting my brushes just soak. I just put them in the water. This is the colors I used from my last paint session, and I decided to make this, video for you guys, but process for me a little bit more interesting. I would do a little bit of my old school style of art videos where I would do a talk through and I would sort of just talk about whatever came to mind or talk about the process I was doing. I hope this is a fun experience for both of us. So I just want to show you what I've done so far. I did something different than I normally do. I first outlined the sketch with pencil, as I typically do, and then I used my new paint markers, which are Posca brand, and I am in love with those markers. If you follow my Mad Creative Life Instagram page, I did all of my Inktober drawings with those markers. I just really love the color, saturation, and quality of them. So I decided, because these are the Palcoyo Rainbow Mountains of Peru, inspired by my trip there that happened recently, I wanted to paint the mountains. What I did was I outlined all of the places where the color was going to be, and I outlined them with my Posca markers. This was really helpful because, one, it was just really fun to do, and two, it helped me to get a more striking visual about where I was going to be placing the paint when I went back with my acrylic paint. Also, for anybody wondering, the Posca markers are an acrylic paint base. They are compatible with the painting I'm doing. I don't know why I've never done something like this. I think I used to believe that there were like rules to art and painting. I've been drawing most of my life. I've been drawing ever since I was a little kid, and I've been using colored pencils, markers, pens, pretty much anything that I can hold. And when I delve into the world of painting, I guess I just sort of assumed there were all these rules and it had to be more classical. Basically, the more realistic my art looked, the better it would be considered, I guess, or be received. And that's just not true. That's just not true. That's something I wanted to talk about in this video. I'll continue talking as I get everything ready. I think I want to try to do the turquoise portion today because that color just excites me today. So also, I just got a new eyeshadow palette today, which I haven't bought a new eyeshadow palette in a few years now, to be honest. I just tested out some of it and I really like it. I didn't film it or anything. I just thought I would do this look because I was practicing a hairstyle, like the wet hair technique, I guess. So I just needed to practice, and I was like, oh, I might as well, try out my new makeup palette as well. Anyway, back to what I was saying before. I used to believe that there were all these rules to art, especially painting, and I thought that I had to follow certain rules in order for my art to be considered good, or in order for me to be considered a more experienced painter, I guess. And that's just simply not true. There's no rules to art. You don't have to follow a certain format, and I honestly believe that the artists that stand out the most are the ones that break the rules and the ones that kind of pave their own path. They're people that, of course, have lots of appreciation and maybe even study a lot of different artists' work, especially well-known and famous artists throughout the ages. I feel like what makes a great artist is someone who can really appreciate great art and even great art techniques and has even practiced these things, at least to some degree. But I think really art is just all about your imagination. It's all about who you are and the way you express your creative self and the way you make people think and feel when they see something that you've created. I think there's a lot of elements to it. I don't think it's a simple definition that can really be defined like that, but those are just some of my thoughts about that. This is coming together pretty nice. My lighting is not super accurate right now, so you may be seeing a slightly different color than what I'm mixing here. Another good thing that I have done with this painting is I'm just trying to have fun with it, and I think a lot of that is working really naturally for me right now because I started off my painting by breaking the rules, so to speak, and I also told myself, very consciously told myself, that while I'm doing this, not to be too up in my head about things and not to overthink the process of this. If I make a mistake, that it doesn't really matter, and also it's an easy fix with paint. I can paint over it. I really just did not want this to be another stressful thing in my life. So I think just really saying that out loud and setting those, I guess you could call it even healthy boundaries with myself about my art, where I don't need to judge myself in this process, and I don't need to judge myself to have it look a certain way or have it turn out a certain way. Just simply allowing the fun and the creativity to flow more. I hope you're able to see this all right. It's hard to get everything in frame properly, but like I said, this is more about talking, and I'll stop and show you guys a little bit more of the process as it comes up. So right now I am just lightly going over the turquoise painted areas that I have drawn with my acrylic pens. And I'm doing this as I go, but I'm realizing that the spaces where I'm getting closer to other colors, I'm just lightly placing my brush over it and keeping the color really thin. I want it to have a more blended appearance because that's how the mountains look when I was there. I guess I'll just share with you guys a little bit. I don't know if any of my videos are up yet or not from this. If they are, definitely go check them out and I'll link them for you guys, but if not, stay tuned for that because I went on a trip to Peru. It was my first trip ever to South America. It was a really amazing experience. Peru is a really, really beautiful country. People are incredibly kind. It's a lot different than I expected. It was more dry. I didn't really go to the jungle in Peru. The closest I got to the jungle was Machu Picchu. I did go and see it because it was literally one of the most amazing civilizations ever built. So of course I had to go see Machu Picchu, and we got really lucky with the weather. It was not nearly as crowded or busy, I guess, as it has been in the past. That was a really lucky surprise as well. I've got to learn so much about the history of the people and just about how they built that city, and I got to learn a lot of history about Peru while I was there, which I guess I never really realized, but I'm sort of a history nut. Like I just love when people tell me about their culture, or when I learn things about other cultures or food or religions or all sorts of things. I just really love to learn. So that was a really great experience. Every guide we had was just chock full of information that I just tried my best to absorb like a sponge. This is turning out really lovely. So this was in the middle of our trip. We hiked Rainbow Mountain, and so apparently there's the famous Rainbow Mountain. I forget the name at this very moment, but I'll put it on the screen so you guys can read it. That is the famous one that you see all the pictures on Instagram for. That's where everybody's like getting their photos and hiking. But apparently in 2018, these mountains, which were already known, these were known mountains, people had hiked them in the snow for many, many, many years, and in 2018 the snow had melted because of global warming. So it was discovered when the snow melted that there were rainbows on these mountains too. And basically what makes the mountains rainbow, our guide told us, it's because the land used to be under the ocean millions and millions of years ago, and because of all the minerals that are in the soil, it left these lines and these different colors because of different minerals. Like for example, everything that makes the yellow is sulfur. That was just a little thing I remembered. So in 2018, these mountains, after the snow had melted, it was revealed that they were rainbow. But apparently that is like not super common knowledge amongst the general norm. People who do a lot of hiking in Peru that live there, you know, they know about this. Of course, the people that live closer to the mountain know this, but not a lot of tourists know this. So I got very lucky. We saw almost no one. We went early in the morning. We did see like a few people, but they were like already leaving and on their way out. But we basically got this hike almost entirely to ourselves. It was such a miracle. And this hike was even better because not only was it not like crowded with people and turning into a tourist attraction, but there are 3 Rainbow Mountains. And the hike is a lot shorter. It's like a tiny bit further to drive to, but the hike is so much shorter. We really got to stop and take a lot of pictures and just have fun and rest. Just really enjoy our time. This one that I'm painting right now is the 3rd mountain. And this one was my favorite. I just really loved the natural silhouette, I guess, of the mountain. I loved the way it was horizontal. I loved the peaks of it, and I really loved the way that the stripes moved on this one. They weren't just like severe, they were more like gradual, like painted, right? And so I just really fell in love. And another reason I loved this mountain was a surprise. So this is the 3rd mountain, and you cannot see it when you see the 1st and the 2nd and when you're walking. It's a total mystery until you climb this hill and you reach the top of the hill, and then you overlook the hill and suddenly it appears and it's there. And it was just such a like an aha reveal moment, and I just absolutely oh my gosh, I was wide-eyed, loved it so much. And this mountain was so inspiring to me that not only did I want to paint it when I got home, and I knew I would on the spot, I knew I was going to paint this mountain, I also filmed a yoga class for you guys. And that excites me because apparently the elevation of this mountain is the same elevation as the Alps, and I have not painted them yet, but there's an outline here. and an outline here, and those are going to be the Alps in the distance. And so apparently I was at the elevation of the Alps and I was doing yoga. It was absolutely gorgeous. I'm really excited to share it with you guys. I just know that you're really gonna love it. It's just a really magical experience. I'm just going over with my paintbrush and using the leftover paint that's like kind of drying, and I'm just gently just filtering that over. And I know that some of these lines probably look really severe. They don't have as much of a blend, and two reasons for that. One, I think it's gonna blend out a little bit the more I keep working on this, and two, I'll see if I can insert a picture for you guys, my reference photo that I took myself. The stripes of the mountain are actually like this. Like, they are actually divided lines of rainbow, which is pretty fantastic. That's why my jaw just dropped. I could not even believe that places like this exist in nature. It's a living rainbow on a mountain. Like, it is encapsulated on the earth in all this color. It's just mind-blowing to me that like it took millions of years in the process, in the making, and then even was covered with the snow, but even the snow was part of the process. Once it melted, it happened to melt at that exact time, at that exact date, and now I just feel lucky that I'm a little earthling that gets to witness that beauty at the perfect time, you know? It's just like so amazing to me. Mountains are absolutely one of the most inspiring elements on the planet to me. They just represent such a majesty and such a strength. Every time I climb a mountain, I feel like I've just accomplished such a great thing. I feel like I've just accomplished such a great feat. And it kind of makes me forget about all the dumb BS that I worry about on a normal day-to-day basis in my life. I can only focus on my breathing, and my thoughts are so clear and so light. Then it makes me feel like nothing else really matters, because just life itself is a gift. So I'm basically done with the turquoise. Even though this is such a small portion of the color stripes, it actually took a good amount of time. I think that looks really nice. The fact that I put this blue stripe over here makes me think that I actually have to like mix some blue. So I'm just gonna leave that for now. But everything else looks fantastic. I want to show you guys a closer look. So that's it for this little paint session. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will definitely keep you updated on any more progress that I make on this. I really had a lot of fun just talking to the camera and telling you guys about my process, but also telling you guys a little about my trip and my inspiration for why I'm making this piece. I hope that you found this video inspiring. I know it didn't seem like much, but any progress is progress at all, so that's kind of where I'm at right now in life. I'm just trying to keep myself doing a little bit every day. The key to this is really consistency, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Definitely feel free to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay up to date with all my new content, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Namaste, and stay grounded.